Honk honk. Hey folks, how's it going? Today we're gonna be working on a Canada Goose, Canadian Goose. What do you say? I was on a hunt a couple weeks ago, and there's a controversial discussion about they don't have passports, so they're not Canadian, and that they're Canada geese, not Canadian geese. What do you think? Anyways, this is going to be the second bird that I'm attempting to taxidermy. The first one was the mallard, and that turned out pretty well. Definitely for my first go, I'm happy with the results. A couple things I would have done differently, which hopefully I'll do this time. And then for every bird that I do from here on out that are mine, I'm going to try different poses and different body postures to try to just kind of grow my breadth of experience and have different learning curves for different types of mounts. So ordered supplies off of Matuska. During the time that I ordered this last year, I got a plain goose head. So that will be required to be painted, which should be pretty easy for this one. I do have fake eyes for it. And then a goose kit. I also bought some wire for the feet and wings. This is gonna be like a cupped up landing goose. So working on getting the feather structure well and appropriate body position are things that I'm gonna be doing. So follow along and we'll get this goose looking like it's still living. All right, so as I was saying earlier, there's a few things that I want to do differently when it comes to this bird. A couple things to consider that I did not was one, have realistic references. The other big thing is when I ordered these goose bodies, the goose head, the mallard kit, I didn't really know much about size. I didn't know much about, the anatomy of the birds, and I still don't, but once I kind of mounted that mallard, I noticed that there's some areas that I wish I would have paid a little bit more attention to. So areas to consider were really how big the neck was. I didn't use any additional stuffing, so you could just tell my neck was undersized. Also, like areas around where the sternum is and the neck meets the body, what that shape and fill kind of looks like. So I'm gonna take some time. I'm just gonna all I'm gonna do as my frame of reference. I have a bunch of unscented, unflavored floss, and I used that years ago when I was tanning a deer hide for the first time, and I made like a little jig to kind of stretch it on, and I used floss to string it up. So really all I'm going to do is take some lengths of floss, and I'm going to do like a circumference of the neck and maybe some measurements just snip it. And then I'll tape this on the wall, so as I go through and start mounting this bird, I could kind of go back to these labeled strings as I know that it's the right proportions. So that's what my attempt's going to be. Hopefully it works out. If you know a better way of doing it and keeping track, or you have a certain process that really works well for you, please share it with me. I'm learning, and I'm sure obviously processes will get refined over time, but just kind of troubleshooting and critical thinking myself, I think this will just be a quick and easy solution to making sure proportions are right. So first step of fixing this last process since the last bird. Now that we've kind of got those I think those are the only ones that I'm really going to care about referencing again. We got the circumference of the bird at the armpit, length of bird from chest to tail feathers, circumference of the neck here, circumference of the neck there. I think with those and taking a good overall video of the bird, I'll be able to get it to the same proportions. Shop Dog says he wants the bird. He's over here waiting patiently saying, give me that bird. Alright. That bird's, we're in Colorado here, and that bird has been sitting out for half the day yesterday, and then I put it in the fridge overnight because I didn't want it to completely thaw while I was sleeping. So what we're gonna do here is just give it a water bath. There's some blood and stuff on it, and get that rinsed off, get it oils off, stuff like that, and completely thaw it out. Please ignore the mess in the garage. It's constantly a work in progress. A couple things that I might need for this guy are some more kerosene, because there's barely enough for that duck, so I probably will have to do something about that. Also, the bin that I use, maybe this fits in it, but probably doesn't, so I might need to find a different piece of Tupperware to put it in as well. So when I give it that kerosene wash, the whole bird gets treated. So get some soap and get this bad boy ready to work. It's a second flush. Could definitely clean the bird out quite a bit, seems like. So now I'm pretty much just going to fast forward through cleaning the bird out, splitting the feathers down the chest. That's where I'm going to make my incision, trying not to cut through any of the feathers as I do that. And I'm pretty much going sternum to, it's butt pretty much, and getting the breast taken out, feed those to my dogs later. And just kind of slowly and meticulously working around the bird. One of the areas I've constantly struggled with is around the legs and around the wings without tearing it open. So if you got any tips on that, let me know. Here I'm working on getting around the beak and around the eyes and around the ears, and just kind of get that head caped out to the point where not damaging anything. Good to go there. Kept obviously the neck so I can reference that for length. Now I'm kind of just doing a rough scrape of getting as much meat as I can off. I don't remember where I left off on my last video. I think maybe putting this in a bath, but pretty much spent the last couple hours getting the wing bones and the feet and the tail feathers and everything cleaned out. Borax once again for the win definitely helps. So gonna give it a bath and let it soak for a little bit, get some of this fat and stuff out of the feathers that I've been mashing in as I've been handling it. And then depending on how this evening goes, will depend on if I just keep it packed up wet for the night or if we get any further on it. Taking bird over to the DIY bird flesher and just kind of getting some of that extra gristle and meat off the bones and off the hide, and trying to just get it as cleaned up as possible. Alright, so we got it flushed out a little bit more, and now we can focus on getting it rinsed out again thoroughly. Then we get it washed again, and we're getting remaining fat out of it. It might be loose and just kind of around, and then After that, we will get it gassed. So, finish rinsing this thing out. Get this neck out. A good rinse, try to get some of the stuff down the drain. Then, get some Dawn in here. Just gonna go ahead here and get the goose head propped up for the bar that I'm gonna be running through it. Is definitely a little bit thick, but just getting a hole drilled in and getting the rod kind of worked into place where I think it'd work best. So just getting the paint equipment out to get this duck head prepped. Pretty straightforward with the Canada Goose. Black bill, black around the eyes, black around the ears. Not a whole lot of variation and paint techniques needed to get this to resemble the real thing. I'm sure down the road, if I get a air gun or something, I can do a little bit more detail. But for now, just going to go through and kind of just make sure that it's adequately covered and looks pretty good. Bad boy drain for a little bit. My wife yelled at me for the garage smelling like kerosene last time. Try to do it outdoors. See if this works or not. Let that drain dry out for a second. Alright, so we go. Working here. Drain out a little bit more and probably bring it inside. And now we're going to, this is probably one of the parts of the process that I haven't seen a lot of examples of, like where it goes from coming out of the gas, trying to dry it off, how long people let it sit, things like that, like are things I'm not too sure of. So I'm kind of just trying my process as it goes. Got my gas towel. My wife doesn't know that. I got her bird. Now compared to that mallard that I did, noticing that this one has a lot more fat that was like kind of like floating around and stuff on it and on the wings. And I know that you don't want that drying on there, but yeah, big difference between that mallard I did in this one. So I'm gonna go through, try to clean this up a little bit, and go from there. Alright, so what I've been doing here is really just kind of stitching this bird up. Quite a few holes that I feel like with the pose that I'm going to do are going to need to be fixed. So I'm just doing like simple stitches to kind of close it up, and I'll keep doing that, get all these holes stitched up so that I can get it on the form. Alright, so where we left off was pretty much stitching this bad boy up. There's probably about 20 holes in it, but none of them were too crazy to get fixed. So now I'm gonna get some borax in here, trim up the bones, and off to the body mount. Get all that moisture out of here. Kind of just try something different each time, when at least it comes to me doing stuff for myself. And I already have this wing clipped. It was by accident or on purpose, but I think most of the marrow's out of that one, but I gotta get it out of this one. So we need not PC to call it by their old name anymore. Trimmed off. Like no matter which way you snip on these things, there's always sharp bone left over, it seems like. I'm gonna try to do this one as like a cupped up coming in type thing.
hole right there. Hopefully. Let's see it. I need to sew that one real quick. It's not the end of the world, but yeah. We're gonna sew that one up real quick. How to do this? So here's the body that I have. Actually seems like a decent size. Okay, that looks good. Like that. Okay. Now what? Cuts as it goes through. Now, I think maybe go through the bone.
So what I'm doing is fishing this wire down through the back of the bird's foot. You know, obviously some tricky spots are around the elbow, around the ankle, and then when you're getting down into that middle toe, it's kind of easy to pop out of that because that wire is cut at an angle. So just slowly working it through and trying to get that in position. Cleaning up the wing and trying to build it up a little bit more, some of that muscle material that was taken out. So I got some stuffing material and taping it in, trying to keep that shape of the muscle. Alright, so now I guess the next step would be duck the head. So my plan
have it like that.
So just using this pipe insulating foam, just kind of slowly working it, trying to get in the right shape, kind of the right form, the right thickness, and just trying to get it to a good spot. So I got these cut already, but I want to work on the head first because I feel like it's going to be necessary. So I taped up this neck a little bit tighter, and now I'm trying to feed it through. It's a little snug, but I want it snugger this time because last time my neck was understuffed. All right, well, I'm going to trim down this neck a little bit more. Just a little bit too much to get it just a little bit more on this side. Whew, what a struggle. Okay, let's see what I'm doing now. So I got this cheek and this cheek glued up so far. Do a little bit at a time. I was gonna go through and paint, but man, this freaking bird's head neck kicked my butt, so I just want to get this on. I'll go through and use a paintbrush, so I should be able to paint pretty easily. I feel like. this little chin patch glued up. Not bad, not bad. A lot less stress. Stress levels dropping. That's good. Alright, and then last but not least, man, I think I did that. We can get that kind of feathers covering that up, but I guess we'll see. Ooh. Man, that was rough. Good thing about learning is you can expect it to be rough. Alright. So you can see there's a lot of neck there to be able to manipulate, which is good. Gotta figure out one, how far in this body needs to go. Okay. Right now, we're going to cut here. Off of here. All right. Now, knowing that, I'm going to shove this all the way through here and see how that works. That thing all the way through it. And my plan is that if I cut that the right length, I should be able to use that for the tail feathers. Will be the plan. All right. So one thing that I want to do is get some stuffing and build up this chest a little bit, because last time I didn't. Try to cut this down a little bit. Hopefully that's right. If not, we'll figure it out. All right. situated. That one seems shorter. Let me find my other. I'll be right back. Back at it. Got the channel locks out. That's enough to hammer in. Yup. Nice. All right. Feet. What do we want to do with the feet? All right. So, kind of want to get this to sit like be the natural length. Alright. So we're gonna do this. This is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna tape these up to here. So that is no longer moving. Then worry about these. Not bad, not bad. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Tape these up, tape it up first, and then focus on getting it connected. Alright. Alright. Stuffing's falling out. Oops. Definitely just defeathered them a little bit. Okay. Let's get this guy out. All right. So my phone died on me, so sorry about that, but pretty much got the legs on. Wings are wired up. I put in a hanger on the back and glued it in over here because it's going to kind of float off the ceiling. So I'm going to hang it up just real quick, kind of get a feel for it, and then I'll stitch it up and stuff it and then stitch it. So made a little hanger here. Get it up there. All right, this is what we're working with so far. Gonna have them hanging, flying in. Now I gotta kind of work on the rest. feathers sewed up. Let's get it hung back up. All right. So I kind of like how the feet are. Head's in a good spot, I think. And I just got to work on the wings and feather placement. Then get back to painting and inject the feet. All right. I think this is what we're going with. I gotta try to just fine tune it a little bit, but that's what she's gonna be. All right, today's the day. I'm gonna take this guy down and try to clean him up a little bit. He's been hanging for about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks, but we're getting him down today. All right, so final product wise, head. Pretty happy with. The bill had to get repainted just because I was in a rush and trying to get this neck on, but turned out pretty decent. Want to work a little bit on getting the eyes a little bit better and tucked in a little bit better. Happy with the neck thickness up here. I don't know, these feathers, I was probably just rough on them trying to get them situated. But all in all, head forward, decently happy with. The stomach, really happy with. I think that all turned on pretty well. Feet, happy with. Got them injected. Got to clean them up just a little bit, but I'm not going to paint them just yet. I'm going to let them maybe decolor a little bit and maybe go from there. But over here on the sides is a little bit, it seems like a tricky part because definitely have feathers that like goes over like some thinner feather area. So like trying to decide between where is it just wet or do I have to like get those in like position right away? I wasn't really sure, so I'd probably pay a little bit more attention to that. As far as the wings go, I probably should have built out this part of the wing a little bit more after I cleaned it and was getting stuffing in there. Probably sure I got built out a little bit more, and I think it would have gave these feathers a little bit better base to kind of rest off of. And I wasn't sure like how much of that I could fix or how much of it is just dependent on like where it's at, based off of like how well this is built up. So I definitely tape these up a little bit more. Got to get smart on that a little bit. Tail feathers, I'm happy with how they turned out. Decent little spread. And then really like outside of this part on the bird that was already kind of rough, back feathers turned out all right. From the top, this side looks decent. This one has a couple wonky ones, which I don't think there's really any fixing that with me, how I mounted the wings and everything, but this is going to my first customer. It's going to be my daughter. She asked to have this in her room, so that's the final product, and I'm gonna keep just practicing and getting better from there.